All right, hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to mentfx. So I'm here in the editing tool, and very quickly, just for 2 seconds, you are going to gain free access to a premium webinar where we're going to break down a full trade plan. All you have to do is go to mentfx.com/insider or mentfx.com and then click on this insider thing. And very simply, just sign up. It's completely free, and you'll get an email with the date of the webinar and a link to it so you can actually be a part of it. And for a limited time only and completely exclusive to the people that are part of this list, I'll be providing a full trade plan as well as, PDF examples and a breakdown live for all of you that are part of it. So very helpful, and hopefully this will be the thing that sets you over the edge. You'll hear more about it in this video, but without further ado, feel free to join up and enjoy this video. Thanks. Hey, how's it going? And welcome back to mentfx. So right now is actually Friday, November 3rd. So it's actually been a much slower week. As I look through some of the pairs that I've generally been looking at, that I've been trading with my team, that I've been personally trading, it has been a shit show of much slower delivery, right? So if I go to UJ, for instance, I've been wanting to go long on this thing, but I've been waiting for it to get out of this range. And then since then, it hasn't set up anything other than just kind of going sideways. So not able to really touch it. EU, I've been on the downside of it. I want to see it go short, but you can see it's just been chopping around for a long time, not delivering to the short side, not creating models or markets that are delivering short and then continuing to move short. Instead, continuing to undergo this kind of back and forth. So also been sitting out of that. US 100. I was bullish, and then I took a few losses here, and then it started coming down, and now it's setting up again, but no trades on this too. US oil, same thing. I wanted to see longs. I started to follow longs, and then it broke down, and there's not much for me to touch there. Crypto, it's hard for me to trade. I traded this, got a really nice trade on it, but skipped on this one due to Coinbase fees. Silver, lot of back and forth, nothing clean. Gold, same thing, a lot of back and forth, nothing super clean. Actually, it's decent for bullish, so maybe something into the coming weeks. USD CAD had a beautiful long that started going, and then just fell through, and now I'm just waiting for it to set up again. EG was watching for longs, but failing down. So hopefully, as you're here right now, you see that one of the main points of this video right now is to show you that the things that I'm watching or the things that I choose to look at are not always moving in these beautiful ways that are giving me tons of money and tons of RR, and I'm making money left and right. Actually, most of my trading revolves around kind of just sitting back, looking at the market and going, is this in an area worth trading for me? And what's interesting is as you scale your capital, as you scale your accounts, as you scale the amount of money that you're trading, this really begins to sit with you more, right? Because what happens is when you're trading larger sums, let's say you're trading a $2 million account, 1 RR at a 1% risk is going to make you about 20K, or it's 20K risk. And then if you make money on that, so on average, if you're making 1, 2, 3 RR, you're making 60K in profit on a trade. So the reality of trading becomes that as you show up to trade with an account of that size, the question isn't, oh my God, where can I enter a trade? When can I get a trade? Can I do something right now? The question is the condition of the market worth trading right now? Is it worth taking on the risk for the potential reward, right? Because at that point, the earnings that you have on any potential win overextend above any over anything that you possibly need to expense. So you make the cohesive choice, you make the smart choice for yourself to go, nah, there's nothing for me to touch, right? So when I show up this week, and all week, all I do is sit back. Like UJ, I haven't touched this thing since this break here. Since the 3rd of October, I have not touched UJ. That's about 30 days straight of not touching this thing, even though I've been very, very a big proponent of this going bullish and moving bullish, and it has done that, but it's done so in a very, very wicky environment and a not clean way, right? Which is why staying out actually made me money versus continuously trying to trade on it. So this idea of understanding how capital works as you scale it and the understanding of patience is that you begin to show up and realize that there's nothing for you to actually take because you're actually undermining your potential future earnings by taking something that is not as good, right? So the reason I come on today is because every market I'm looking at right now, I'm just sitting back going, I can't really trade this. There's nothing to do. With the exception of the only pair that I actually could trade was GJ. So, I'll actually go over this for you guys today. But as we zoom in here, right? GJ is the only tradable pair. GJ is the only thing that I've been bullish on, multi-timeframe bullish on. Everything's looking clean. Everything's looking great. I've been somewhat following it. And then the models began to set up. And I took a beautiful loss yesterday. Well, kind of yesterday. It was this morning at 1 a.m. So around 4 a.m. or so. I think I entered this around like 2, 3. It was through this high. I think I got tapped in on this wick. So yeah, about 2:45 a.m. I got tapped in and then instantly got taken out of this trade. I recorded that in my journal here. And again, as I'm looking at this journal that you see in front of you with the little dashboard and everything, this is all available in the private mentfx mentorship, as well as tons of other materials and other videos just like this. But I want to jump on today because it's an interesting set of things happening where everything I'm looking at the moment, yeah, there's many other pairs that I might not be looking at, but everything I'm looking at the moment is not within a clean trend or an easy market to follow. But that's not forcing me to take any one trade. So all week, nothing to take, haven't touched it. 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 And I can keep doing this, right? But the reality is, anybody trading these kind of markets, when they're going a lot more back and forth, or that are trading the higher time frame, like a 15-minute or something higher, well, they're likely either sitting at break even, sitting in drawdown, or taking multiple losses back to back to back to back, because the market environment is not inside one of the clear context that you'd want to see markets move in. Right now, what's interesting is down below, I'm going to have a little free, just look at like the pinned comment, a free email sign up, free, completely free, where I'm going to be hosting a free, fully premium workshop live for you guys, where I'm going to go over a specific trade plan so you can actually begin to understand true trend, go and get funded, and do the things that you've been trying to do for the longest time. So sign up for that, because I'm going to be sending out one email. It's going to be limited time only, but it's going to be a free workshop for everyone, okay? And I'm going to be going over exactly how you can personally also find trades like these. But today what I want to do is I want to go through an example of this trade through a context that was beautiful, made sense, and that I decided to trade, and at the same time really hone in on and explain the fact that everything all week has been so choppy, unclear, that the only thing you needed to be profitable this week is patience. Most traders that do not know how to exercise patience, which is 90% of traders, are people that have been taking trades left and right and losing. The thing that separates you from most people is your ability to know when to stay out. Every trader that thinks they're a trader who's going to get funded, do it very quickly, is a trader that shows up every single day to take a trade after trade after trade after trade, to force a trade after trade after trade after trade. Because as you guys know, no matter what you're looking for, an engulfing candle, a zippity-doo-dah, a triangle pennant of doom, right? No matter equal high sweep, low sweep, imbalance hit, kill zone time hour of the day, no matter what you're looking for, you are able to force a trade in any given day on any given pair, which means that if you don't have a specific way to judge context or have the ability to be patient and stay out, you're going to consistently have randomized results, because you're randomly forcing and deciding when to take trades, which means sometimes when it works, it's going to do very well. And other times when it's not working, you're going to take loss after loss after loss and find yourself either at normal break even or losing, and slowly losing more and more and more and more. And the only way you improve that and start to see true incline and increasing your equity curve is by creating rules, creating contextual rules, creating patience-based rules where you can take a step back and sit out. And those are all things I'm going to be teaching with specific tools as to how to do them in that free workshop. So sign up. Okay, now let's talk about this GJ trade, because that's the only thing I've traded. So starting out, let's first of all go into this. And by the way, this is the mentfx structure premium, which will give you all the ranges and everything, which comes all with the subscription to mentfx, but you don't have to have it, because remember, if you go to indicators and just type in mentfx structure, this is available for free for everyone, and you will have these exact same ranges based on the rules that I teach. And these are based on basically supply and demand and rules behind supply and demand. But if you just want this, which is going to be added to all the fun stuff, you get it with the subscription to mentfx. So, you know, keep that in mind. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter. Let's get rid of the MAs for now. And let's get into the actual analysis of how I traded this and why I traded this. Let's go. And I'll have a timestamp probably, so you can go and find this without having to watch the initial part where I actually rant about the things that matter. But if you did skip to this timestamp, this is going to help you. It's going to give you a mini like trade plan, because that's what I specifically do. But the part just before this is very, very vital in your understanding, and you're probably missing a lot if you haven't seen it. And there's a little cookie regarding a free workshop that you can be part of if you watched it. Okay, let's get into it. So first things first, before I usually do anything, I like to check my personal sentiment viewer. So the sentiment viewer is, if you go to mentfx.com and just click on more sentiment viewer, it's free. You have it for free, and you can go through this. And generally, I'm going to teach this in the free workshop that you can sign up for by clicking on Insider, completely free. There is some processes that you can go through for determining a trending market. Now, if I look at GJ, on average, so what I consider to be a trending market before even looking at anything. The daily is in general bullishness, pretty heavy bullishness, 60%, 70% or higher. And the intraday is in general bullishness, 50% or higher, 70% or higher, whatever you might want to use. But GJ is shown to be very bullish. And at the same time, the basket of goods in regards to the overall XXX JPY pairs, as you can see, is extremely, extremely bullish, with the exception of like UJ because of the whole news thing that happened, if you guys saw that. So what you have is you have a basket of goods that is showing you that it wants to move in one direction. And at the same time, at least in this case, GBP/JPY, which I'm going to go over the chart price in a second, is very bullish as well. Now, for our private members, as you guys know, you do not need this whatsoever. Please remember that. I also use the screener for myself. And in the screener, this is another way that I basically filter out of good or bad markets. Is you may look at a few timeframes, maybe like a daily, maybe you'll look at an 8-hour, maybe you'll look at a few, maybe a daily, an 8-hour, a weekly, and you'll basically look for anything bullish, anything bullish. If you're just looking at the bullish side, right? And you can save that. And you can see on average the kind of things that populate here. And what you'll get is, here's, that GJ again. So exact same thing, right? And you can also search it, right, without the filters. But GJ has been showing extreme bullishness. So overall, before I even get into looking at prices or at the markets, the sentiment, which is what you have access to, is shown bullish, and that's great. And then the actual private model-based outlook, the screener, is showing very, very powerful bullishness. And now let's get into the actual technicals of what's going on the actual price. Right, so first things first, and also you won't see this little thing on yours, but this you'll see with the mentfx structure premium, which comes with, as you can see, the models as well. So that's where that's coming from. But what you'll see on GJ here is a market that has for a long time been very bullish. I mean, we've been bullish on this with our team since the initial, I believe, wicks in here. Since the initial wicks inside of here and here, just to give you guys a little bit of understanding. So this means from around May of 2022, we've been generally bullish on GJ, very bullish, but that does not mean that we were just showing up every single day to take bullish trades. Because remember, markets are cyclical, money moves in and out of them. So during times like these, where you get sideways action, which you can, again, stay out of using lower time frame models, that's going to happen. And during those times, you're just not trading. But yes, ever since these points here, and ever since that initial demand began to hold off of this absorption and new demand formed, this was a daily. You can see the weekly in general is already moving bullish and just continuing to move bullish. So the expectancy, as per the way I teach, is that price is going to continue moving bullish and simply will continue taking out the clouds of liquidity that rest above price. If you don't know what that means, go ahead, head over to YouTube and just type in mentfx clouds of liquidity. You will learn about the concept of it and how it works. But the general concept is that most people on every other time frame will be looking for reasons to short this market. They'll be looking for head and shoulders, resistance, support resistance, supply, new supply, lower time frame, imbalances, etc., etc., etc. So this is how liquidity forms. This is how true liquidity is engineered, by a misunderstanding of how markets deliver and how demand, or the formation of demand, the validity of demand, creates direction, okay? So at the same time, as we go to the daily here, here you have those same refinements of those demand zones, right? In this case, I believe this was a 3-day. Let me just double check for you guys. Yep, so it's that 3-day wick right there. Very, very easy. Continuing delivery, so 3-day, weekly, all showing that bullishness. And again, notice how you're able to use the left to right rule, which I teach as well. Go from left to right on your structure to determine where you are in a market. And this is showing you clearly what markets want to do, what the market wants to do. Now, over the last few weeks or so, I've stayed out of this thing. So during this time, I was trading UJ, which was doing this, right? UJ was very clean, and then UJ just got unclean, but GJ starting to pick up its pace and starting to move in a very clear fashion. So that's a very interesting thing. Now, at the same time, you have the double MB rule here, which is a private mentfx concept, but I'm going to show it here because I don't mind. If you want to learn more about it, you know where to find that. You have a break here. This is MB1. You have a break here. That's MB2. That means at that point that you have an institutional range from this low to this high, which means that any demand within that also functions as a true demand for a continuation. And very simply, as price wicked this area and began to move long from there, that's when we began to once again watch GJ for potential longs and for lower time frame accumulations to follow this thing long. And now very simply, what you then have is, let me go back to that daily. What you now have is price coming off of there, breaking higher, creating a new break within the institutional range, hitting that demand, moving higher, creating a new demand off of it, which is known as a demand 2.0 or an S&D 2.0 as I teach it. And there it is, right? Qualified by this inefficiency right here. So again, the expectancy becomes that price wants to either A, move higher, 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 or come back to this zone to then move higher, higher, higher. And the way we prove that, once again, is through models on lower time frames. So as we move to a 1 hour, just like we did, actually the 15 minute is what I use to personally trade. Price made its inevitable move into this demand. And again, at that point, I don't expect price to hold or do anything. I just expect price to likely fail down. And if it does, then great, I walk away from the market. That's exactly what every other market that I just spoke with you guys about did. The expectations that I had were not expectations that began to hold. The money did not come in behind the move. And as a result, as they failed, I was not left taking any trades or holding any bag or anything like that, right? Because I simply have rules that I wait to get involved with that are based on trend and momentum. And as that trend and momentum comes in, then great, I can be a trader within that price action. So price plays back and forth a little bit, starts to break up, breaks down, breaks up. These are some entries I missed this week. So most of this week, I believe this was Monday. Yeah. So Monday I was on a plane. I was gone until Thursday morning, actually. But I was watching price a little bit here and there. I was off in Florida for a little bit at Disneyland, actually. So happy Halloween, anybody watching this. But some decent moves here, some really nice entries, but I missed those. I'll be going over some of those in the webinar and how you could have caught them, how to watch for them. The price began to move long. And again, as we have this buildup of protected lows that move higher, which simply means that as structure breaks to the top side, you have protected lows that are now increasing, and then breaking down, we simply assume either reaccumulation or new accumulation. At this time, you had a lot of choppy price action. That choppy price action was showing me, again, that weak to strong hand transfer, which is exactly what we look for because that's indicative of accumulation occurring. A lot of back and forth, another breakdown. I assume at that point, accumulation or absorption. And then as price begins to re-break to the top side, so remember this double break here, that's the exact same thing that you just saw happen right here, right? There's a double break, price comes back, starts to move. Exactly the same thing I teach, it's all fractal. Here's a double break, price comes back, it starts to move. So the expectancy is that we have found accumulation, we have found demand, and that big money is likely getting back behind this move. So we now have the chart that is speaking with us, we have the sentiment, and we have the screener, right? And from there, as you have bullish breaks and a breakdown, I simply assume a reaccumulation 15-minute, and then price begins to set up what I look for as the ICI blueprint, which is actually what I'll be teaching in the free workshop that you can attend, and you'll get an email about it by simply going to mentfx.com. Literally just head over to mentfx.com like this, boom, .com, head over and then click on Insider. That's it. And just join this thing for free, completely free, nothing else required. And you're going to get a specific private email where I'm going to go over this exact concept with much more depth to give you a specific trade plan. So keep that in mind. It's going to be fucking amazing. Okay. It's going to be amazing. Don't forget. So nonetheless, what you have is you have a multi-timeframe setup of ICIs here. There is some usage of MAs from my end just because I use them to understand how the average of price is actually moving. And it helps me understand where accumulation is happening. But in this scenario, you really do not need them. And from there, what you have is you have money entering the overall bullish market off of the reaccumulations that are currently occurring, right? And supporting the overall demand zone. So this is, again, that exact same thing we just saw on the daily because it's all fractal, break up, price returns to a demand zone, begins to move from there. We expect price wants to move higher because of the multi-time frame confluence of what's going on there. Now, again, at that point, even here, you can begin to watch for price on a lower time frame here, like a 1 minute if you're trading a lower time frame, to start trading longs, right? Because there are thousands, well, not thousands, but there are billions of dollars available in the market if you just traded the 1 minute longs here and took these guys long. There are plenty of opportunities here, plenty of opportunities to take long and to make money on a 1 minute using that 15 minute. But for me personally, due to the scalability of my account, due to the reason that I run multiple businesses and have and spend time with family and want to spend less time on charts, I am now trading a higher time frame. So in this case, the 15 minute. So I'm waiting for that same setup, but on a higher time frame. And simply, as I'm up last night, I was just up very late. I just kind of pulled an all-nighter, but it's all good. You get a move. Price makes that I, C, and then it starts making this inside ICI as well. So this is going to be based on the... I have a video on YouTube about this as well. So, yeah. So if you watch this entry schematic, this top-down trade plan, no, just this entry schematic, like I'll even make a playlist. Save the playlist. Right, so the ICI entry model, it could just be public, it's fine. Right, so for the specific ICI, this is a great one. This one shows a little bit, but I'll make some better videos regarding that soon. So simply the ICI was occurring here where you have a model that looks a little bit something like this. So you have an I, a C, an I, C, and then an I, and you look to take the entry through the top here, or sometimes it looks hard with this tool, but basically you're looking for this. And this is also what I'm going to highlight in the free workshop model video for you guys, so you're going to get a much better understanding of it, okay? Because that's my plan. I want to get a lot of your eyes onto that so we can actually go through it step by step by step, because there's a lot to it, but I'm going to give you a specific trade plan for it. So simply, I just took this long through the night, instantly got stopped out. Oh, whoop-de motherfucking do, you know? We take losses. Again, losses are part of the game. I hope you all understand that, especially if you've been watching me for a while. Then you know the only way you make money as a trader is by taking losses. So took a beautiful loss there, and then price once again began to reset up inside of this ICI. And again, as you guys know, I play 2 games when I trade. The first game is analysis, the second game is management. After analysis, and then I enter a trade, I'm playing management. Once the management's done, I'm back to playing this. I don't let this affect the future choices because, again, notice this setup kind of happens right after this setup. But if you're allowing the fact that you took a loss or a win or a break even or anything, or the price action going a little bit sideways, whatever it might be, if you let that affect the next trade you take, then you're not going to be able to think clearly every single time that it's time to take a good trade, which is why you'll have the issue of, and a lot of you might have this issue, where you take a trade, you take a loss, then price does something, whatever, and then makes a beautiful move, and you go, wait, I could have gotten involved here, and I could have been part of this entire move. And actually, while we're at this, I need to manage this trade probably to around there. So, hold on. I'm gonna manage this trade on my other monitor here. Okay, beautiful. So we're managed on that, 50% there. Fantastic. So you just need to understand you're playing 2 games when you're a trader, analysis, then management, and you need to separate the two. You can't let one affect the other, and you can't let the other affect the first, right? You just need to be able to follow the rules as they see fit, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in that issue where, once again, you're going to make a choice, you're going to do whatever is right, then you're going to start taking losses, or price is going to move without you, or price is going to stop you out, then move without you, and you're going to look back and say, oh wait, but I could have just done this, why didn't I do that? Fuck my emotions, I need to work on my FOMO or whatever it might be. But the reality is you're just not experienced enough in what you're doing, okay? So once again, price just fails through, gives me a loss, and then at that point, once again, what do I expect from a trader perspective? Price is going to fail, and there's nothing for me to do, just like every other pair that I've been watching. But instead, price begins to reset up as part of this multi-timeframe ICI that I'm expecting to move, right? I, C, ICI, or I, C, ICI. So that's occurring again. Price goes sideways. I simply buy stop through it, protect a decent amount. In this case, I just protected the overall correction because it was big enough, and I was happy to do it in regards to the ATR down here, which is something that I'll also teach either in the free workshop or at some point in the private mentorship. So I'm gonna just ignore that right now, and simply got tapped in. Price began to move long, and then this is what I basically call like a momentum trend. It's just one way that I use personally to manage. So I'm currently, as you can see, I'm currently managed here where basically the first failure of true trend, the true initial momentum, is where I'll take off most of my partial, but it's just moving right now. So that's phenomenal. Hopefully we get a big move out of this. And right now it's already a 2.5 or so RR gain, 2.4 RR gain, which is absolutely insane. And again, consider yourself at a $2 million account. If you're trading a $2 million account, which is actually something available with mentfunding as a one-step funded evaluation that you can actually end up having and then trading. So check out mentfunding.com if you're already a good trader and you've taken any value from the stuff taught here and you've actually developed the system. But with a $2 million account at 1% risk, right? Or at 0.5% risk, depending on what your risk tolerance is, this trade's already up about 40K, 45K, which And that's at the partial, just the partial, which means that, you know, if I even close the entire trade right now at 1-5, that's about 20 times 5, 20, 40, 60, 80. So that's about 100K gain. Now, again, I don't really think in the gain of dollar amount. I just think in RR, because that's the only way to think, and that's the only way that you're going to make money. But like, this trade's technically up right now, floating 100K profit. I'm actually going to move this up a little bit more to, what is this, 184.399. Hold on. Okay, cool. Right, so the reality is you just need to be aware of, just like I spoke about earlier, if you're trading that kind of account and you've made yourself up to that account, you realize that sitting there and trying to every single day take any trade that ever sets up inside of any imbalance or any reason or any setup and any change of character and anything, whatever, sitting there and doing that is wasting your time and wasting your capital and potentially, you know, actually depleting your resources rather than adding to them. And this simple understanding of true patience, where you sit out of every single market because nothing is setting up that you've been watching, and you just get involved in the stuff that makes sense, allows you to take your loss minus 20K, take your gains plus 40K or plus 100K floating right now, which will probably be more as this trade plays out, right? So I'm just kind of just eyeballing this. Yeah, maybe even move this down a little bit, because again, this is more of a momentum based management style, but it's just what I do. There we go. Okay, so again, that patience is what's going to add to your bottom line. It's the fact that I didn't trade anything, and these are the only 2 trades I took this week, that I'm going to end up making money, right? Like, so even right now, at this being a 50%, it's about a 2.5 RR gain at the moment, as is, just off the 50% partial, right? So as I jump in here and add it to my journal, because this is the journal that I make accessible to all my members as well. I'm gonna make this yellow because this only has this is a 2.5 R gain guaranteed or more, right? Because this is a 50%. If this goes here and then it just takes me out fully, then that's gonna be the 2.5 R gain. But if it even takes us out and then goes, it's already gonna be about a 5 RR gain. So that's how the game is played, and that's how you actually make money in trading. All right, so let me extend this down. And again, this is just how it looks like. Now, again, this is just a quick representation from around August 1st. So this is August 1st here until today. So this is November 3rd, right? You can see a little bit of my personal history. I've just kind of been documenting this to actually showcase how important losses are to a system, because as you can see, this goes up not because of wins, and all the wins. It goes up because I'm consistently taking losses when it's important to take losses, and I'm being patient about the trades that I'm taking, right? Which is why also, if I jump into here, you'll see the date differences in regards to the trades I'm taking. Sometimes I won't do anything for a week, right? Here I didn't do anything for a week. Then here I didn't do anything for a week as well until I could trade again, right? Here I didn't do anything for 3 days. Here I didn't do anything for a week. Here I didn't do anything for like a week, right? So you have multiple of these examples where sometimes, guess what, guys? As a trader, you're actually not trading, because as the fun quote goes, trading is understanding when you're not going to be entering. Trading is not just showing up and just, come on, give me the trade. So don't do that. So here's your little psychology of the day, video of the day, kind of going over just kind of what's been going on for me. It's been a very boring week, not much to do except for these 2 trades that just set up this morning for me. And now we're simply running and managing, and hopefully we're going to have a beautiful, beautiful day on these. And again, that's all it comes down to. And I'm just going to be spending the rest of the day going through just a number of whatever's going on here in the group, going through some of the trades that our personal members have been taking, going through some issues that they might be having to try and improve them, and then hopefully having a really good and enjoyable Sunday webinar, which is coming up this Sunday. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. And without further ado, guys, make sure you sign up for that insider, because it's going to be worth it. And that's how I call GJ. I use tools, I use rules, I allow the rules to stack up, I enter my trade, I call it a day. And I outperform most people. You know why? Because I simply have patience and exercise it. And you should do the same. Thank you, guys. Mwah.